Right, welcome everybody. Welcome to an unusual one for me, an afternoon live stream. I'm pleased to say I'm joined by my good friend Edward here from Antiques Arena, and we thought we'd get together. We'll explain a bit in a minute about. I'm pleased to say I'm joined by my good friend Edward here from Antiques Arena, and we thought we'd get together. Every time I leave a window open. Yeah, we'll explain in a minute that we're planning to do regular kind of live streams on this channel and on Edward's as well. So we'll talk about that in a sec. But for those that maybe don't know who you are or what you do, can you give us a quick introduction?
Yeah. Firstly, thank you very much for having me again. Hi to everyone. My name's Walter Edward O'Neill. For those of you who don't know me as Walter or Edward, I'm an antique dealer. I've been dealing in antiques for the best part of 20 years. I have a little antique shop in South Wales, United Kingdom. I have my eBay, my YouTube, and my own website. And I'm more a hoarder than a dealer, but there's nothing I don't deal in. I buy and sell everything from precious metals. I bought somebody's tooth once. And literally art, you name it, I buy everything. So it's just what I love. You bought somebody's what, did you say? Tooth.
Oh, tooth. Oh, right. Okay. Say no more.
Just show you how mad I am.
Yeah. Well, some of my viewers will have seen when I popped down to see you with Andrea and Ellen.
Yeah.
There's a video on the channel, you can go and look for it, where we look around the shop that Edward's in now. It's a fascinating video, so check that one out. So I can see we are live, so if you are watching us live, please pop in and say hello. We may get on to questions later, but we have a kind of running order that we want to get through. So we'll touch on some questions a bit later, maybe. Quickly say a few hellos. We've got Damien in, an afternoon show, don't mind if I do. Good to see you. Lincoln Seller is in. Hi, Richard. Oh, there's my wife. Andrew is in. Good to see you. Giraffe, DJ, and lots of others. So yeah, we're going to talk about the basics of buying and selling silver. Now, I have dabbled, and I mean really dabbled. And I think I said to you the other day, Edward, I have enough knowledge to be dangerous with this sort of stuff, and I know you've been dealing in it for years and have a wide range of knowledge. So what we thought we'd do was cover the basics of buying and selling silver. I know you've got a kind of running an order of what we want to get through, but you teased that you've got your top tip that you're going to give us a bit later on.
Yeah, obviously we're going to do the basics today. We'll branch out at other times into other films, looking at individual sections of silver in more depth. But at the end of today's video, I'll share my tips so that people can buy silver with very little knowledge, without risk, or with as little risk as possible.
Okay. And as you touched on there, the plan with this will be the basics for somebody who's a complete novice, perhaps hasn't even thought about doing silver, just some of the basics to think about. And then we're going to do other videos every couple of weeks. We're going to alternate between the channels, and then on my channel we're going to cover silver more in depth in the future videos. It's the plan at the minute. But give us your feedback. If you're watching this after the event, drop us a message below, something you'd like us to talk about within silver or future videos or ideas. We're open to suggestions, but we want to do this as a regular thing, both on here and on Edward's channel as well. The link for Edward's channel is below. If you're not already subbed, please go and check that out. So that being said, where are we going to start?
If you're ready, if you're ready, I'll have a go. Basically, then we start off with a very basic silver introduction. So silver's a metal alloy. In the UK, we use the term sterling silver. That is because it's 92.5% or 925 parts silver and 7.5% made up of other materials, mostly copper, but there are other alloys in there as well. They do that because silver as a purity is just too soft. It just wouldn't last.
Oh, that's interesting. I always wondered why they had some other stuff in it. Okay.
Some countries use pure silver, but it is very, very soft and wears away very fast. And if you imagine a teapot or something, silver teapot, it's not going to last 2 minutes, let's be honest. That's why they bring it down a bit, strengthen it up. Now, silver can be found in many, many forms. The earliest is coinage, but silver has always been a highly prized precious metal. it's been used for everything from flatware, cutlery, knives, forks, trays, candlesticks, picture frames. I've been down the museum recently in Cardiff, and they have a boat, a 4-foot-long boat for the royal coronation, and they're covered in gold, made of silver, a spectacular thing. So basically, anything you can think of at some point or another has been made out of silver, and the stuff they make, novelty stuff, really collectible, pulls really, really good money. So there's nothing that hasn't been made out of silver. In fact, Chinese porcelain in the 18th century based their porcelains off silver shapes, where they copy other silver items. Now, with silver, you have a hallmark of purity or stamp of purity. Everybody reckons silver's hallmarked or marked. It's not always the case. Sometimes the mark's worn off. Sometimes it just hasn't been marked, or it could be foreign. In that case, then you can acid test, and we look at that in another day. And you get little bottles of acid, and you use testing stones and things, and you can actually test the purity of the metal.
Right.
And
so
as I said,
it might be a very naive question, but I assume hallmarking started at a point in time. So there'll be older silver before that just won't be marked at all. Would that be the case?
Silver's supposed to have been marked for hundreds of years. Certainly the last 300 years that I'm aware of.
Right.
But I've still had stuff from the Victorian time that doesn't get marked. People have melted stuff down, made stuff themselves out of silver. It isn't always marked. But if you can imagine, silver is so soft. When you're polishing it daily, you just rub the hallmarks away. You really do rub the hallmarks off. So you can have something really looks like silver, but the hallmarks could be worn off or never put in the first place, or you just can't find them. Sometimes they're in with the patterns or in a really hard to find spot, and you just got to double check. So that's when acids come in. Some people just say you can smell silver, you can taste it. Anybody in the profession will tell you, you either need an X-ray machine or you need acids to test if it is actually silver or silver plate. It's that simple. Hallmarking is very simple. I've done a little picture here for you. Sterling silver will have the lion patent here, or it'll be stamped 925. So here, right. So you have your date letter, which obviously changes for the corresponding year. You have your silver standard mark, which is a sterling mark. The leopard then is the assay or town mark, and then you have the maker's mark. If you leave that on me a second, that's what it looked like on a piece of silver. It's quite small and hard to see. Now, easy to read, and I mean very, very easy. Get yourself a little pocket book. You've put a link, I think, Nick, in the description for the Pockets Guide to Hallmarks. And you've also put a link to the website that I use for identification. I use makersmarks.co.uk. It's a website online. It's totally free. This is basically what the site, what the site looks like. So you come onto the site, and it'll allow you then to choose from the maker. You can see the different town marks. Once you click on them, they'll then come in, and you can choose then the maker's initials. Is it? No, that's the date letters, sorry. So you choose the date letters there. Just go to the corresponding shape. Now, I know what you're going to think. The alphabet only goes 26 letters, but they change the shapes of the letters, capitals, and then they change the shapes of the boxes. It's really easy to read. If I zoom in, you can see there. It's very simple. Different shaped boxes, different letters. And you just find and go to the year. And same for the maker's marks, same site. You click on whatever letter it is, it'll come down and it'll give you all the information. And I believe you've got that in your description. That is for the dating and finding out of the maker's marks. Really is easy, honestly.
Yeah, the link for that should be below if people want to go over and have a look around. It was interesting hearing you say that the date letter is easy to work out. I remember a while back I had some silver and I thought I'd dated it, and I messaged you and you were like, no, completely wrong. Some of the letters are actually hard to distinguish from others.
It's not just that. The thing is, sometimes they're in a diamond, sometimes they're in a circle, sometimes they're in a square. So you got to match in the lion, because the lion changed throughout time as well. So there's a different pose for the lion.
Yes.
The date letters.
Yeah. I had a lion face on, like the face of a lion on one of my pieces, but then some are like a sideways lion.
The face of the lion or the leopard, that's actually the town mark. That was the London mark. The side-on lion, that changes poses as well. Oh,
okay. And that's the one that denotes it's 925.
That's the one that states its actual purity of silver. But then the year letters, they'll change the box, they'll change the type of writing, they'll change it from capital to small. It's everything the way it's laid out. All you have to do is very simple, match in the hallmark you got to the year, and there's your year. And obviously you do exactly the same for the maker.
The main thing I think for beginners and for me was understanding that lion means it's 925 silver, because once you get to that point, you know you're dealing with solid silver, and if you can then weigh it, you know the basic value of it. But
there's also a problem with that theory too, because you've got 800, 830, 900, 958, 925, and 999. They're all silver marks as well, where they've actually impressed a number into the silver, and that denotes then the purity of that silver. Other countries use different marks, but again, we'll look at other countries and their hallmarks and things in another video, because some of the marks, I've got Persian silver in the house and it just looks like a couple of squiggles. Really, really hard to tell. But because I got a shop, I have to have this up. Yeah, there we go. Which is basically the hallmarks on precious metals. This is, if I don't have this up by the assay office, or anybody who sells precious metals of any kind should have this on display, whether it's a market, antique fair, shop, or whatever. And if I come in here, it just gives you some of the examples. You can see down here where they got impressed numbers as well as the lion patent. So sometimes you'll have the control mark, which is there, the 925 mark. Sometimes you'll just have 925. Sometimes you'll have 800. But it's still worth money. It's still silver. It's just slightly less of a grade of silver. But I think in the UK, anything that's not 925, they have to sell as white metal.
So I'm concerned that we're making this sound way more complicated than
it's not. No, it's not. It really isn't. I wanted to explain the hallmarks because I want people to be able to identify what's silver and what's silver plate. Because silver plate, they used to use fake hallmarks on silver plate. So it's very hard to distinguish the two unless you actually know. All you're looking for is looking for the lion, or you're looking for the numbers 800, 900, 925, or so on. It is that easy. Dating it, you can use the website I've just shared or just shown you. That is so easy for dating, and I mean that. It really is easy. Just match it in, and there you go. It's not difficult. Once you got the tools to do it, really, really isn't difficult.
And speaking of which, when I was dabbling in silver a while back, the thing that made it so much easier was I picked one of these up. I'll put a link below to one, a fairly good one on Amazon, which is a little magnifier, or people call them a loop, don't they?
It's a jeweler's loop, yeah. I've got a list of things that to show people what they really should have to go buy in before they go buy in. And that's definitely one of the ones I got. Only difference is I got a few examples.
Oh, right.
The lights.
Well, I said before that I've got a gadget. I'm not sure if you've got one of these, right? This is really cool. Have you seen one of these before?
Yes, clips on your mobile phone, so you can use your phone as an eyeglass. I got one.
I would really recommend this. If you're thinking of buying silver to sell on eBay, all you do, you get 3 little lenses in a bag. I think it's about a £5 off Amazon. Again, there's a link below for this. And then you can clip it over your phone thing, your little camera. And then when you're doing your photos, I mean, for example, you can see that's my thumbnail there. And you can get pictures like I did of the hallmarks, etc.
It really does work. I've actually got them.
And even if you're just looking, because these can be quite a fiddle, but you can use this setup as the jeweler's loop really to look at the hallmarks and stuff.
You can, but with myself, I don't like to pull an eyeglass out on the car boot sale or when I'm buying. I don't want them to know what I'm looking for. So I got bad eyes, but I can spot a hallmark a mile off. I don't need to know the date or the maker's mark to buy it. I just need to know it's silver.
Yeah.
But that takes us on then to silver, is a precious metal. As you already said recently just now, if they know it's silver, they can buy it and know they got a value because they can weigh it. So silver is a precious metal. It has a scrap value. It's on the stock market, and the value goes up and down hourly, depending on the stock prices worldwide. Here's a little bag of scrap I've got, just to give you an idea. It doesn't matter if it's in one piece, 100 pieces, it's got a value. Now, I use a company in Birmingham, Bojangles. They're a jewelers in the jewelry quarter, and they're very, very fair and honest. And it's hard to find honest people who you can just say, there you go, and not worry whether or not you're going to be ripped off or not. I've used them for years. They've been very honest.
Yeah, I've linked that below as well, so people can go over and check. There's gold list prices and silver.
That's what their page is showing today. If you look to the bottom of the list, they're actually paying 27 pence per gram. Forget all the rest of it. That's just the gold prices and things. For 925 silver, they're paying 27 pence a gram. Now, that's not the spot price. A spot price of silver on the London Stock Exchange is probably 2 or 3 times that. It's probably a lot more. But that's for refined silver in bars by companies. We can't get them prices. To sell to those smelters, you've got to be a company dealing in, refined silver.
So that 27 pence is what they would give you over the counter if you went up there.
If you walked up into Bojangles today with a bag, and I've done it, I've taken 10, 15 kilos and gone, there you go. Sat down, they'll bring you a sandwich and a cup of tea while they do it. They lock the front door because they got locks on the doors, and they will weigh it all up, go through it, weigh it all up, and they'll go, do you want cash or do you want to transfer it? And they'll just hand you the cash. That is as good as money. You can transfer that into cash within an hour. The price changes. Now, they do pay a bit of a premium if you've got good quality, if they can sell it on. If you talk to them, they pay a little extra for gold and silver if it's saleable, not rubbish. That's their price for anything that's got to go in a melting pot. So if you imagine you're out car boot sale or whatever and you see a bangle, 50p, you haven't got to identify the year or the maker's mark to know it's worth more than 50 pence. It's going to be 10 or 20 grams of silver. Let's say 30 pence a gram, which is what I worked it on when I done my list a day or two ago. You're talking £3 to £6 of silver just to melt it. So it's it's got the value, and you'd be surprised how fast this adds up. An odd earring can be 2 or 3 grams. I go through little boxes and things, and I'll pull out a handful of silver, and people will charge me £1 or £2. I might have 40 or 50 grams of silver in there. Yeah. Honestly, people don't value silver. Gold they do. They don't value silver, but it's still got a following behind it.
So what you do then, you'll build up a bag like that, and then once every few months you'll go and cash it in? Is that how you work on that?
The last time I built a bag up, I built up 10 kilos.
Wow.
And I weighed it in as a deposit on a house. That's the last time I went. As I said, I'm a bit of a hoarder. I don't like parting with my precious metals. I'd rather sell anything in the shop and hold the silver and gold, purely because if I need money fast, it's there on the day.
And you said, just going back, you said prices go up and down. I mean, how big are the fluctuations in silver then? Have you seen it rise and fall a lot?
10 years ago, silver was 30 pence a gram. 5 years ago, silver was 80 pence a gram. And now silver's back to 30 pence a gram.
Oh, right.
So silver used to go up in line with the gold. When the gold went up, silver went up. Gold shot up to 12, 14 pound a gram for 9 carat gold. I think the high was about 16 pound a gram on 9 carat. That's when silver reached 70, 80 pence a gram. Silver come back down, gold didn't. But at the same time, because gold has now got so expensive, China and things are starting using silver in their electronics. So supply and demand, they're going to run out of silver eventually. And the cost of mining it now with man hours and equipment and everything, it has to go back up. But if you're buying it, at 30p a gram, it don't matter anyway. So before you go out buying, I wanted to show list of a few things that I would recommend that they have. We already covered the eyeglasses. I had a variety of those.
Oh, let's have a look at that again. What's that great big, wow.
I use that one for when the elderly gentleman come in my shop and look through the coins in the box, because I do have a lot of silver coins and things that I sell. I would recommend you buy one of these.
Yeah.
Now, whether you're into coins or not, what this book does, it tells you every country when they stop making silver coins, when they turn them into nickel. So if you want to buy silver for investing or for resale, and you're only interested in the silver value, you come in here, you can buy a load of coins, you can come in here in the book, and you can say, right, well, this country stopped doing them in 1968, so anything before 1968 is silver. Mm-hmm. In the United Kingdom, we stopped using silver in 1946, but from 1921 to 46, we were only half silver. Before 1921, we were full silver. But if you want to buy silver to invest, to weigh in as scrap, or to resell, if you get that, because you will find a lot of coins out there, and a lot of people that miss the coins as silver.
Another novice question here, and you just mentioned half silver. So if there's a half silver coin, it's half silver content, right?
Half silver content means it's 500 grade.
Yeah, but can you then sell that?
Yeah, they pay half silver rate. They work it out on the silver price.
Okay.
It's the same, 800 silver. They'll work it out based on 800 silver price. They'll price it based on the silver quantity. Because when I go up there, I separate out my 800, my 900, my 925, my 500s. I have it all separate in separate bags, and they weigh it up and they work out the price individually for each one.
But will most coins have more value as a collector's coin than they will the silver, or not?
Not if the face has been rubbed smooth or rubbed off. If they're buckled, they're worthless. If they're worn, there's no point selling them, because on eBay now, the availability of coinage is so great, they can cherry pick the best examples they want for their money. A lot of coins have got a lot more value than scrap value. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they haven't. But if you've got a broken coin or a worn coin, it's not worthless. It's worth its weight in silver.
It's funny, you just mentioned buckled coins. The video on your channel that I thoroughly enjoyed, I've watched it, I think, 3 times now, is when you're trying to straighten coins out.
Yeah, they were love tokens. I learned later they were love tokens. In the Victorian time, they'd bend the coin, or bite didn't bend. There's a love token, so the woman couldn't spend the coin or something along them lines. And I had a load of them, and the coins were still really nice. So I got a vice and I straightened them and I flattened them out, and I sold them. I sold them all for a good profit.
Did they go? Oh,
yeah, every one of them went.
Yeah, people watching. I'll try and remember to link that video below, because I don't know why, but that fascinated me. And just watching you struggling with these coins was brilliant. Anyway, yeah.
Moving on, you've got your eyeglass. You've got your little pocket guide if you want to date the silver. You don't have to. You can come home and date it, but that is a really handy book if you want to date it. You need one of these, which is, it's not a drug dealer scales. It's a little precious metal or jewelry scales, and it does from 0.01 all the way up to a kilo. If you're dealing in gold, you're all right having one that goes up to 100 grams or 200 grams. But if you're dealing in silver, it adds up fast. You want one that will go all the way up to a kilo. And if you have a look here, it'll tell you the capacities. 0.01 all the way up to a kilo.
Okay. What I'll do, I'll find from Edward the links for these items as well, and drop those below. If you're watching after, there should be links for these things if we can find them.
What else was there? So you got your scales, you got an eyeglass. Acid is a must. When we do another video, we'll explain about the acid testing. But that's really all you need to go out buying. So where'd you buy it from? That's the question. Now, personally, I buy a lot of my precious metals from car boot sales. I dig in little jewelry boxes. When people got costume jewelry, you would not believe how many times I hear, there's no gold or silver in there. I guarantee you I pull a piece out of that box for £1. I really do. Button boxes, things like that. I've had sovereigns out the bottom of button boxes, where people go there and they got like jars full of buttons.
Yeah.
Little old ladies used to hide their sovereigns in them all the time. But yeah, you'll get a lot of silver, jewelry, coins, everything out of boxes and car boot sales, and literally you'll pay £1 for something. Sometimes you pay a bit more, but for me, it's got to be car boot sale. Now, there's a lot of people where we done a video recently where we discussed car boot sale versus auction. And there's a lot of people who will be sat there now saying, no, I buy my silver from auction. The trouble is when you buy it from auction, you're up against other dealers and you're paying good money for silver. You can buy a silver candlestick if you're very lucky on a boot sale, 10, 20 quid, or a nice silver brooch for £1. You go to an auction, you're going to be paying 10, 20 pounds for that brooch, or 50 quid for the candlestick. There's the difference. You're buying off people that don't know what they're doing really at car boot sales. Now, if I buy as well from antique fair. What I tend to do when I'm around an antique fair is I get my scales out in front of the dealers, put it on the table, I'll pick up the heaviest pieces I can find, silver spoons and things, and I'll chuck them on my scales and weigh them. Because you're guaranteed they always underprice their silver spoons or their silver ingots, things like that. They really do. And if it's under scrap value, you don't even have to think about it. Right. Just buy it. But that's the way I buy silver. There's another side to the coin that you can buy periods. You can buy makers. So let's say, for argument's sake, once you've got a bit more confident in silver, you start saying, right, well, I know Art Deco silver sells really well. So you go out looking for Art Deco silver. Then you're going to need that little pocketbook to help you identify the years. Or you want a maker. William Cummins, Nathaniel Mills, things like that, really good makers. They pull a premium price. Again, once you get more confident. Now, you can buy silver on eBay. Richard was watching. He found a beautiful strainer spoon on eBay by William Cummins, and it was a spectacular piece with a really nice handle. And he didn't feel confident enough to buy it. So I thought, okay, if you're not going to buy it, I'll bid on it. And it ended up coming in under scrap value at 27 pence a gram. And it was a beautiful piece of silver. The seller didn't want to sell it out after I paid for it, but I had it. So you can buy some really good pieces on eBay too. You had a load of silver a while back, as you said. You put it into the charity auction.
Yeah, we auctioned that off. I remember you were bidding on it. I'll tell you where I got that. That was at a village fete. It was called like the White Elephant Stall. And, I didn't pay a great deal for it. I didn't really know what I had as well. But in there was a solid silver cigarette case that I showed you I listed a few months back. And I ended up getting about scrap value for it, which I was happy with because I just needed it gone. But yeah, and there was some silver plate bits and some solid silver little salt and pepper.
I remember because you had a bag full of it and you said, well, there it is. And I went up to £100 on it.
Mm.
And I know it was for charity, but believe it or not, I still would have made a profit on that.
Yeah.
So that's roughly where I go buying anyway. I don't know, do you go anywhere else buying silver?
I don't really go looking for it. The silver...
You're going to have to after this video because you do enough car boot sales.
Well, exactly. And the silver we just mentioned really was my first time I dabbled in it. And it sat on the shelf here for at least a year or two because I just didn't know. And there's always something easier to list because I didn't have the knowledge. And when I actually got round to it, I sold off most of it, as you know, for charity. But the one bit I had left, which was that cigarette case, when I got round to it and started looking into the hallmarks and stuff, although I made a few mistakes and had to give me a helping hand, it was really quite easy. And once I listed it as solid silver and listed the weight in the title, it went in a flash because people knew exactly what it was worth.
The good thing about silver is there are always people out there to buy it, whether they're buying it to invest, whether they're buying it to sell on, whether they're buying it, just for the hell of it to have it around the house. Some people like to display silver. Me, I like to hold it for investment. I'm hoping in another 10 or 20 years, because we don't have pensions, let's be honest with what we do. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping the precious metal value will have shot up and I can retire off what I hoard. That's what I'm hoping. So people buy silver for a number of reasons, but let's be honest, silver is a precious metal and will always have a market at the right price. I sell a lot of silver on eBay. I get good money on eBay. I tend to, if it's an average piece, I tend to be about £1 a gram. Now, you mentioned you sold your cigarette case or card case for scrap value. So you're talking around 30 pence a gram, 40 pence a gram at the time.
Roughly, yeah.
I would have listed that at the £1 a gram minimum, and I would have got it. But it goes on makers. As I said, if you want to, once you've bought the silver, if you start looking at that website, you date it, you get the maker, it's as simple as that. You just put that information in the description. To find the price, if you got the maker, just run a search on what that maker's pulling. You'll find some people are pulling £3-4 a gram, depending on who made it. A little vinaigrette box, and I mean a tiny little vinaigrette box by Nathaniel Mills, can pull £200 or £300. And they're not, what, 20, 30 grams? So
well, it's like any niche within selling. Once you get past the basics, you realize that the subject is huge. And
the subject is massive, but you can buy it confidently knowing you can sell it. You can sell it on eBay, you can sell it on Antique Fairs, you can sell it on car boot sales. I've worked them all over the years. I've done all the car boot sales, going for 20 years. I used to go to Swindon in Newark and Derby Antiques in the Park, and I'd sell silver. I sell silver through my shop. Not so much now because I've put most of it away. I've sold enough. So now I want to hoard a bit. But yeah, silver's a very safe buy. Easy to sell, always people out there looking for it. Before you look at questions...
Sorry, I was just going to say, I've seen a bunch of questions in the chat. We'll get onto questions once we've gone through our list of...
I'm almost finished anyway. Before you go on to questions, what I want to share my biggest tip. If you stick to it, you're not really going to lose money, which is until you get confident, until you can identify decent makers or decent periods, set yourself a limit of the scrap value. So no matter if you buy from auction, if you buy from Antique Fairs, if you buy from eBay, on eBay, they'll give you the weights when they list it, if they're a good seller, right? No matter where you buy it from, do your math, never pay more than the scrap price. So let's say, for argument's sake, the average scrap price at the moment is 30 to 35 pence a gram. If you never pay more than 30 pence or 35 pence a gram, you can always try to resell it on. And if you can't sell it, you'll never lose your money because it's safe. You can melt it back out. That is my biggest tip. You will never lose money. If you buy it at the scrap price, you can't lose money.
Right. Okay. And to know the scrap price going back, you just need to know that
Untitled site.
Yeah.
You've linked it in already.
Yeah. So you just need to know that you're dealing with solid silver, not plate, and then just use that website to know the gram price that they would pay you, and then you can work it out from there.
It is that easy. So let's say it's a teapot on eBay, 500 grams. It's 30 pence a gram. You can pay 150 quid. You're never going to lose money because if you can't sell it on later on for 200, 250 pounds, you've still got 150 quid of scrap value. That's my biggest tip ever to anyone. If anybody ever comes in and says, I want to invest in silver, I want to invest in gold, my biggest tip is never pay more than scrap value until you are confident enough you know what you're doing.
That makes sense. So should we take a few questions, or was there anything else?
No, take some questions.
If you do have any questions, or there was ones that we missed, put them back in now and we'll try and get onto them. But I'll scroll back. Let's have a look. I saw one just up here. Someone there, Tea Cake, says, my pal found a gold £5 coin at a boot sale, gave £5 for the whole box with it in.
Yeah, happens all the time. I've had sovereigns in there for £1 that they've sold me as tokens.
Hi, Stu. Says it's always worth looking in the cutlery at jumble sales. Lost count of the times I found silver spoons and bought them for 5 or 10 pence.
Perfect example. Buying under scrap, he's never going to lose money.
Yeah. So with, for example, cutlery, like Stu's saying there, would that tend to be something that you would scrap, or do people buy odd bits of cutlery that are silver?
There's some cutlery that I've just got that I'm working on at the moment, and to be honest with you, these are going to be scrapped. Sometimes the blades are solid. These ones are not, the steel blades, but the silver handles. Really hard to sell. I don't scrap anything that is saleable unless I can't sell it and I need the cash. I certainly try and sell everything first. But when it comes to cutlery, it's hard to sell. I'd rip the handle off. That'll go in my scrap box. That'll go in my brass box, because silver plate is basically brass. So that's got a value as well. So if you're buying cutlery for the silver, you rip the silver off, you put that in one box. You have another brass box for the plate, which is all brass, but you get another £3 a kilo for the brass. So that adds up too. So you actually waste nothing. You recycle the entire thing.
Yeah.
But good spoons, you know, if you've got a nice, real nice, solid silver spoon, there's collector's markets for them. There's not so much for a couple of single knives.
And brass you'd get rid of at the scrapyard, right? Because I've done that before.
My local scrapyard, yeah, I do. I did actually hoard brass and copper and things like that all year long, and I scrap them in at Christmas.
Yeah. Okay.
If I buy a box of stuff, I separate out all the metals, because believe it or not, metals got value. It really have.
Oh, really? I've got a nice. Let me show you this that I've been hanging on to. Little bits like this.
Do you know what? That brass tap's probably £2 or £3 in scrap, isn't it?
Exactly. It's seized and it's knackered. Otherwise, it would have some value as the item. But
yes,
yeah, that's going. And I've got a bunch of car batteries to go down as well.
Well, they lead. You know, you get about £6 or £7 for a lead car battery.
Oh, I've got some huge ones. They're more than that. They're stupid heavy. And
Well, I haven't weighed nothing in mine for about 2 years.
Yeah.
It's the same. You know, the catalytic converters in an exhaust. You get like £50 for one of them, though.
Yeah. Well, we're going off topic, but there's a problem with people going around car parks and ripping them out of cars.
I can see people doing that. The value on them, I can.
I'm not sure if it's still going on now, where the prices have come down, but for a while, certain makes of car that were easy to access, the cat, thieves were going under and just ripping them out. Anyway,
they were stealing bronze statues from Cardiff to weigh them in, and all the street signs. Honest to God, is that bad around here?
Yeah. Oh, it all happens. Let me see if I can find any questions. Again, if you want to pop questions in, we'll try and get onto them. Where was I? Thanks, Richard. Richard there says, really useful advice. Well, hopefully there'll be something handy in here. And that's the point of this. I see myself as a complete newbie to this topic. And we're going to do a series of these on my channel where we go into all of the aspects we just covered in more detail. So hopefully it will be helpful, not only for me, but for people watching.
The only thing they got to remember, Nick, right, is how to identify a hallmark. Right, so basically they just need to know what a hallmark looks like, have a scales, and buy it under scrap, and it don't matter what it is. They can figure that out when they get home. They'll always be safe.
And Stu has also said there, I used to work for a structural engineering firm. When builders got their hands on an old house or cottage, the first place they'd go is up the chimney to look for treasures.
Coins. It used to be luck to bury coins in the chimney.
Oh. Interesting.
I always go under floorboards. If I do house clearances, I look for loose floorboards because they used to hide the coins under the floorboards. Yeah,
well, the old kind of story or wives' tale that people used to hide money in mattresses, that happened, and it happened a lot. And people would stash cash because they didn't trust banks.
I still don't.
Yeah. And the amount of, there was somebody, I don't know the exact history, but there's somebody in our family going back sort of great-grandparents that died, and there was thousands of pounds just stuffed in every nook and cranny around this house.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it blows my mind. Hi, Carol. Carol B says, how can you tell if silver is real or plated? I have silver stamped with M5832 underneath.
The M5832 could be just a serial number. It needs to have a hallmark or something. But at the same time, let me show you this. This here is a silver tree of life.
Oh, I was trying to get it onto you. How do I do that? I always forget. There we go.
You see that? You got a silver tree of life ring. Now, if I show you the inside, this is fully hallmarked. There, see it? 925S.
Yes.
Now, if you look by here on the rim, you can see the copper coming through with a silver plate. There's a lot of fake silver coming out of China. Hell of a lot of fake silver. I don't know. Did you see the copper there, Nick, on the rim?
I can just see the changing.
Can you see the brown on the edge?
Uh-huh.
That's the copper coming through. Now, that's a fake ring. That is when you need your acid to test. More often than not, if it's got a full set of hallmarks, it's going to be real. But you've got to be careful with this stuff that's marked 925. I think I got a couple of pieces here that are fake.
Now, you said you'd need your acid to test if that's real silver, but obviously it's only going to test the plate unless you...
What it does, when you get a piece of silver, you find a little spot that's not really visible. You file it down gently. Some people use a testing stone and they put the acid on the stone. I don't. I test directly onto the item and then clean it up after. My theory is if you're rubbing it on a stone, the silver's coming off on the stone and you still got the copper in your hand. So I file it slightly in a place that's not going to damage the item, put the tiniest drop of the acid on, and if it's base metal or silver plate, it bubbles up green. If it's silver, then it'll burn either white, depending on what acid you're using, it'll either burn white or it'll go red. I use gold acid to test my silver. A lot of people use silver acid. I find the gold acid is easier because I'm only carrying one tab and it'll still test it. It burns white and leaves a white stain rather than, bubbling up green. But at the same time, there's a lot of fake silver. I would recommend if you're going to put serious money into it and you're going to buy some thick, heavy pieces that are expensive, get some acid. But generally speaking, if it's got a full set of hallmarks, it's pretty safe. Other than that, it does need to have the 925 stamp or one of the other numbers.
Okay, and we'll go into using those acids perhaps in another video in a bit more detail because I think that would be really useful. All right, let's see. Let me go back to the end, see if anyone dropped questions. Oh, Lex is in. Hey, Lex. I know Lex does a lot with picking up. Lex finds a lot of silver in her big baggage.
Yeah, she goes to Bridgend. I'll be seeing her Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm done Bridgend Sunday.
Lex asks, how do you get rid of the white stain on the silver after testing?
Right. Now, to clean my silver, I use Goddard's paste, right, which is... hang on, bear with, which is like a putty and a very, very soft sponge. But even that can still damage your silver. But genuinely, to remove the white stain off the silver, you need the wadding cloth. But don't clean the whole thing with a wadding cloth. You know, like the Brasso cloths you used to have in the tin? Use those, but don't clean the whole thing because it'll wear the silver away. But you need that bit of abrasiveness to take the white stain off after the acid has been on it.
And Houdini's long box, does acid damage the silver if you're buying it for resale and not for scrap?
No. Filing the silver will damage the silver because you've got to file this somewhere. You've got to get through the silver plate or the surface to see if it's plate or original. That's why you do it in a very hidden area or at the back of something and do it small. You don't want to, if you've got a spoon, you don't want to be putting a big gouge and filing it. Just find a tiny little spot somewhere, very small test. Even then, if you have to use an eye loop to put the acid on it to see whether or not it bubbles up under that small filed area. Test small, keep it neat, and then you can always sell it on. But the acid doesn't damage it. It stains it, but you can clean it off. Filing it will damage it.
A couple of people have said that fake silver coming out of China is because there's a company in China called 925.
Do you know where else there is? You can buy the stamps on eBay now. Know the 925 and the 375 stamps you get on gold. You can buy them on eBay. It should be illegal. But I know you can buy the stamps, and there's nothing saying people can't buy them and stamp their own stuff. You've got to be very careful. That's what I said. A bit of experience, as you've said, you know enough to be dangerous.
Well, exactly.
The more you handle, the more you'll know a feel of silver and the look of silver and the color.
Lex says, I found some gold today, 50p. There you go.
Last time I saw Lex in Bridgend, she found somebody's engagement ring for £1.
Wow.
I think it was £1. It wasn't a lot anyway, because I remember her winding me up saying she had an engagement ring and a wedding ring because the woman couldn't stand her, not Lex, the man she was married to, and she just wanted to sell them. She knew they were gold and still sold them to her for nothing.
Wow. Watcher is in and says, question, what is universal silver? Is it worth bothering with?
No idea. Never heard of universal silver.
No, we don't know.
That's true. I have never, ever encountered anything that says universal silver. I've encountered stuff that says like Nevada silver and things like that, and that's silver plate. Universal silver I've never heard of.
Richard remembers a video you did showing how to clean properly. So is there one on your channel?
Yeah, there's videos on my channel for testing and cleaning that I done a long, long time ago.
Right. Okay. Right, I've got to the end of the chat. Let me scroll back. I'm sure there were some questions I missed earlier. There's one from earlier there. Rolex Illusion. My wife bought a set of 50 Franklin Mint car mascot silver ingots for £200. Where is best to melt them down?
It depends where you are in the country or the world, really. There are smelters everywhere. And you just got to Google it, your local smelter, depending on where you are. I'm in South Wales and I drive to Birmingham to use that company, Bojangles, purely because I trust them and I've dealt with them for years. But there's nothing saying you can't use any of the smelters. There's hundreds of them in the country. So depending on where you are. But to be honest with you, we should have more retail value than the scrap value, I would have thought. Franklin Mint done pretty much everything. They done plates, they done ceramic plates, they done absolutely, you name it, they done it. I'm not sure if they were like magazine stuff. But the Franklin Mint silver ingots, I know the ones because they done a whole range of ingots. And they should have some sort of retail value, I would have thought. But if you are going to melt them down, just take them to a local smelter, know the weight, check the values on the day, know what they're worth, go to a smelter and they offer you less. Just say, well, no, I want that price, so I'm walking away with them. Don't be afraid because they're worth that money to any smelter. And bear in mind, they may be paying us 27 or 30 pence a gram. That's not what they sell it for. These companies melt it down and then they sell it for the full price.
I just wanted to highlight that one quickly. Ken says there, another complication is that silver items under 7.78 grams in weight do not require to be hallmarked. Is that true?
They haven't necessarily got to be hallmarked, but 9 out of 10 times they are. Here's a single earring that doesn't weigh a gram. And I don't know if you can see on the back of the earring, there's a hallmark, 925.
Might be able to if I bring it up. Oh, no, it's not focusing. It's too small. Okay.
It's a little hallmark there. They don't always stamp little things, but even a little earring will be stamped on the back or on the bar. More often than not, they want you to know it's silver. But I have got silver in the shop that I'm selling as white metal that isn't hallmarked.
Okay. I think I've covered most of the questions we had. Let's have a look. Not really on topic, but what is the best advice about shipping prices on eBay? Big fan of the channel. I don't know. If you're going to use Royal Mail, all of their prices are on their website.
Can I just interrupt a second and say, if you can sell silver on eBay or jewelry, it has to go special delivery or they don't insure it.
Oh, good one. Okay.
I've actually sent stuff, silver, precious metals, through the Royal Mail and they got lost and they refused to pay out because it wasn't special delivery. So if you're going to sell any silver online, make sure it's tracked and signed, and if you can, special delivery for insurance, guys.
Interesting. The cigarette case I sent just went recorded delivery.
You wouldn't have got paid out if it hadn't arrived.
No. Interesting. That's a good tip. Another one quickly. Jason, hi there, says, I picked up a jewelry box made in Japan. Cannot tell if it's just white metal or silver as I cannot see any stamps. So that's where having a testing kit is vital, right?
Have you linked in a testing kit, Nick, into the description?
No, I will. I'm going to make some notes. So that's...
You want to put a testing kit into the description. I'll send you a link of one to add in. They always come with instructions telling you how to use them. And to be honest with you, what I would suggest people do is buy a broken bit of silver from somewhere that is worthless and test on that. Buy yourself a couple of silver-plated spoons or forks off a car boot sale and test on them. Don't test straight away on your good stuff. Learn how to use the acids on rubbish. Get a feel of it. Wear gloves. I don't wear gloves, and it burns your skin. You'll be peeling your skin off. Trust me, wear gloves. They come with instructions. It's a little box full. You can either buy individuals, but I bought the full box because I'm a dealer. I got all the gold ones, the silver one, the base metal ones. What I'll do, I'll send you a link for just the silver and for the full set if anybody out there wants the full set.
Yeah.
You can buy a single for silver for about £7, whereas a full set's about £40. But it's worth having a full set if you're in the reseller business because there's a lot of fake gold out there as well as fake silver.
Exactly. Oh, so here's in. It's got an interesting question. As the pricing fluctuates so much, do you have a particular max price you will always buy at, no matter where the current price is? Sorry if this is a silly question.
Me, I'll pay 50p a gram for any retailable silver because I'm confident. I've been dealing in it long enough to be confident and know what I can sell and what's scrap. If I was going to buy something like they just mentioned, those Franklin Mint ingots, I'd pay 30p a gram maximum. If I couldn't sell them, I could weigh them in. But I don't mind paying 50p. I'll even pay £1 a gram for some Georgian silver. So I don't have a maximum. I'll judge it on what it is because you can have a little stamp box, solid silver envelope, if you like, to hold a stamp. 4 or 5 grams of silver, you can pay 50 quid for this, retail it out for 100, 150. Because of the experience I've got, I'll judge it on what the item is. But as I said, my safe guide to anybody would be don't pay above 30p a gram. I know silver goes up and down, but it's been hovering around 30p a gram for years. You're pretty safe. If you lose 2 or 3 pence a gram, what have you lost on an item? Next to nothing. You're always going to protect your investment to a certain degree. Nothing is ever 100% safe in this world, even a bank. How many banks went out of business and people lost their money? Do you know what I mean? Nothing is 100% safe.
Oh, there's a nice message for you. Baby Doe, I've learned so much from Edward's YouTube channel. Thank you so much.
She's lovely. She's about to open an antique shop. She's taking her time doing it.
Wow.
And it looks amazing. I'm well jealous. It's massive. But she's tiptoeing her toes in.
Oh, Lex says there, my local cash for gold place won't take or even test my unhallmarked silver or gold. Can I shout at them? Yes, you can, Lex. Go on.
If they don't take it, there are places that will. But other than that, I'll buy it off you.
There you go.
I'm down Bridge End quite regular. I'll bring my acids and I carry my acids everywhere because some people come up to me with big lumps of silver and gold. I buy unhallmarked. It don't matter to me.
We've had a super chat. Thank you so much to Double Karma, who super chatted £5. Thank you. Loving this live stream, Nick and Edward. Good. Well, that's really encouraging. We really hope that this would get a good response, and we do plan. Now, what did we decide? Every 2 weeks, we're going to alternate between the channels.
Once a month, and I'm going to be on your channel once a month. But we're going to silver now. We've started the silver. We're going to keep the silver onto your channel. The new silver videos, so we keep it all in one area for people, and we'll find different categories to cover on my channel, and then once we've done the silver, we'll try and find something else.
Yeah, and the idea basically is, like I said before, I see myself as a novice in dealing with most sorts of antiques, especially precious metals. So I'm here to ask the dumb questions and to be the novice, and hopefully get the information that other novices and newbies will find useful. That's the idea, really. Okay, Well, I think we've covered what we wanted to cover. Thank you so much for the questions and the super chat, Double Karma. Really appreciate that. So next time we'll be on Edward's channel. The link for Edward's channel is below. There's a wealth of videos over there. There's videos about, testing the silver, cleaning silver, and everything else you can imagine on Edward's channel. So please go over, have a good rummage in the videos, and sub to the channel. And then the next one in this series will be on Edward's channel. So you reckon we're going to go once a month or every couple of weeks?
Well, it's going to be fortnightly, isn't it? Because if we do once a month on yours and once a month on mine, that's every 2 weeks.
Oh, yes. See, he's clever, this man. Yeah, for in a couple of weeks we'll schedule. I don't know if we're going to stick to Fridays or.
Fridays seem to work for me. If they fit for you, I wouldn't mind sticking to a Friday.
Well, normally the reseller ladies do their thing, which is normally would be before this slot. So I don't see a problem. So we'll try and stick to Fridays.
If it has to change, as long as it's through a day, because as I've said, when I go home, I got all the children, and my fiance, she works nights, so it's very awkward, and I can't film with the children running around. And as you know, I got a 1-year-old baby who's gorgeous.
Yes.
But
perfect. No, that works. So, okay, thank you everyone for joining us live. We got well past 100 live viewers, which is fantastic. If you're watching after the fact, please drop us a comment below. Let us know what you thought. Give us suggestions for future videos, and we'll see you in the next one. As I say, link for Edward's channels below, so go and sub, and then you'll be able to see us in the next one in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you very much, guys. Bye.
Thank you so much, Edward. Take care.